Well, good morning and welcome back to Morning Express. Time now to discuss matters business. As you know, every Tuesday we speak about the business chat. And joining me today in studio, I have a number of young entrepreneurs who are part of a program that is being run by the Rift Valley Railways when it comes to building capacity and trying to see young people being in positions of influence. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Maybe we start from the far end. Just introduce yourself to us, and how did you end up getting into this program that is all about training young people and positioning them in the market where we have a shortage of skills?
Thank you, Abi. Morning, viewers. I'm Brenda Were. I work with the Rift Valley Railways. And how I got into the program is the company has a program, a management training program. They recruit every year. So what happens, they go to the different universities. For example, me, I went to Makerere University in Uganda.
Yes.
So they advertised, and then we attended the conference, more of a workshop, where we did an aptitude test. From an aptitude test, if you pass the test, you're given an online assessment. After that, you're called in to Kenya to do another interview. After that, you do an oral interview, and then you're in. It's a set of 4 interviews. So out of like 3,000 applicants, they chose 20. Yes, from my lord.
And what's your story?
More of what she said, only that I applied straight. My application was through the newspaper. I wasn't recruited from campus. I also went through the same rigorous training as she did.
Okay. And looking at this whole aspect of young people trying to be able to fit into the job market, well, we have a gentleman who has just joined us here, and he's also part of the program actually. And before I get on to the second question, just quickly introduce yourself.
My name is Ochako Prince Aurora, and I'm the onboard systems engineer for Rift Valley Railways.
Welcome. We're just having this great conversation around, we've seen the unemployment rate in the country being at over 40% as we speak currently, and a number of companies are trying to get into this sphere and get to have young people being trained so that they can fit into the company. We are just having this discussion around, you've joined RVR, you're in the department that handles quite a number of engineering works. At the same time, Kenya is working on the standard gauge railway project. Of course, we need to have that capacity before we get to that level where the standard gauge is up and running. It might be you people driving it or some other people. As a young graduate, how easy or how hard is it to break through into the job market? Let's begin from there.
Well, I would say currently, with the current employment situation and employers complaining that there is a gap between students leaving campus and serving their companies, of course there's a gap. Then you go to railway industry, it's a very specialized industry. You can't just get any graduate to come and work there.
Sure.
Yeah, so I would say that with this program, you get the opportunity to be trained on the job, learn what railway is all about in depth, then you can be competent enough to carry out operations in railway.
What would you perhaps raise when it comes to the number of young people who are in the job market, and are they competent enough? Because employers on the other hand are saying we are getting half-baked graduates. Maybe we pick it up from you.
Well, it's all about learning to differentiate yourself from the rest, and that's why we go through rigorous forms of training before you're recruited finally.
Yes.
So it's actually, we are all smart out there, and we all qualify, but it's really about standing out from the rest.
Maybe Were?
Maybe to add to what Nancy said and Prince said, I think with skills, it's something they learn. You don't have to have studied logistics or rail, but when you come into and when you come into the industry and they give you different exposure, you're able to learn. As long as you have the basic skills, basic computer skills, communication skills, and the basic degree skills, bachelor's degree skills, you get to learn these other skills as you work, as you go on this work.
Interesting that you've raised that point. We've also seen a number of corporates trying to work with universities when it comes to having that relationship where we get people from the campus being trained so that when they transition from campus to the work environment, it's an easy way to adjust. What has been your story like when it comes to the journey of getting employed, and also how has this training impacted on how your worldview and just how you work? Maybe we start from that side as we come this way.
I think I've benefited a lot from the training. The training of 1 year where you're exposed to the different departments. I come from a different educational background, totally different from logistics. So this was a new field to me, and new skills that I had to adopt to. So what I think is, given 1 year and a different proper exposure, which RVR has given us, has given us an opportunity to be able to develop skills. I can say I have grown a lot. If I look back 2 years ago to the Brenda I was, I'm totally different. I have grown in terms of self-development, people management. The company gives you exposure to do that. Young as I am, I'm able to manage people who are older than me, people capable of being my fathers, my uncles. The company gives you such exposure. And then you look at, in 1 year you're able to learn the business. Since when you're just recruited, you visit the different stations along the network. You go to Kampala, you go to Mombasa, you go to Eldoret. So with that, you learn, you pick something out of the different areas. Because when you look at the logistics industry, it's all connected. So I have totally learned a lot.
How about you, Prince?
Well, as for me, I would say, for anyone leaving campus into the corporate environment, you realize it's two very different things. So there's quite a learning curve on that.
Correct.
So what most corporates give you is an opportunity. What you like is an opportunity actually to come learn the business, learn the corporate environment. There's of course the jargon there. There's management skills, communication skills that are totally different from what you get in campus. So I would say that the advantage this program gives people is come in, learn how to work in this corporate environment. You learn how to manage people below you, some good management skills of your bosses, etc. You learn the business and you're competent enough within a year. It is fast-tracked, it is kind of intense, but after a year, you're good enough to go.
And yourself?
For me, it would be people management skills, as well as getting to understand more about the business. The fact that it was a 1 year training, you undergo intense orientation, and right now I have a deeper understanding of how the Rift Valley Railways operates.
Aside from Rift Valley Railways, we've also seen the logistic business becoming an integral part in East Africa. We are seeing the Standard Gauge Railway project is coming up. As we speak, it's actually under construction, and it will be serving Kenya and as well as Uganda. And if you look at the pipeline in terms of the skills that we have to have on board when it comes to addressing the capacity issues, from where you sit, do you still feel more young people need to rise up and take up these opportunities?
Well, actually, transport and logistics form a backbone of any developed country. You need a proper transport and logistics system in the country, and this has been neglected for quite a while in Kenya and East Africa. So I would say currently we are coming in to fill that gap, but there's still space for a lot more development to be done in terms of that. You need more young people. You realize that when it comes to transport, logistics, railway, it's predominantly old people in that sector, people who joined a long time ago. So we actually need a lot more capacity in terms of young people joining, learning the specialized business, and becoming innovative in it.
I like the fact that you're saying learning the specialized business. I was once also a graduate just like you, and there's that, should I say, attitude where you've graduated, you now want this level of managerial once you get a job, but that is far from reality. We've also seen a number of graduates not taking up the challenges, the opportunities actually offered when it comes to internship opportunities, applying for these graduate trainee programs. What would be your message to such kind of people who just want to earn this big salary without having grown through the profession?
That entitlement, as I call it. You finish campus and you think you're entitled to so much. I think just humble up. Humble up and learn. You realize there's a lot you don't know. You have theoretical skills, the basics, but there's a lot more to learn out there.
Yourself?
Yeah, it's basically just what he said. There's so much to learn out there, and over here where we are. Yeah, basically just humble yourself, and nothing comes easily. You've got to work for it.
There's humbling yourself, and then there's the attitude that the graduates have, because you're out there in the job market. You know your worth in the job market. You have the skills, but you don't have the experience. You know, at the same time, you want to fit into this job environment.
I think there should be willingness to learn. That's what I believe in, because your attitude makes you able to have the willingness to learn. If you just want to wake up in the morning being a manager, it will be impossible. You have to wake up in the morning, get to know the nitty-gritty of what will happen, such that eventually when you're in a management position and something happens, you're able to tell where the problem is and you're able to solve the problem. So I think what I should say to the graduates out there is that all of us should have the willingness to learn. Have the interest to do something. Without interest, you won't succeed, really.
And still keeping with that, how important is it for a campus student to take up the internship opportunities as they carry on with their career in campus? How important is it?
Well, I would say your internship is as important as the education you're getting at school. Do not underestimate it. Go for all your internships. Get diverse experience. Learn how to work with people. I would say approach a job like an entrepreneur approaching his business. You're not entitled to anything. You actually have to gain the skills, then convince people that you're good enough. Yeah, that way you'll progress.
And yourself?
And the feel that you get from an internship is different from the same experience you get in class. In class it's all about books, research, this author said this and this. But when you get to internship, it's more of the work field, the work experience. It's different. Here you're talking to people, you're not referring to a book.
Yes.
Here you have to communicate to your bosses, to your people you're learning from. So you have to approach it with a different attitude. Not the attitude you'd have if you went to a library, sat down and read. Because if you're in campus, basically you go read, research, do exams and pass. But it's different in internship, because internship is a reflection of the work environment, what you expect it to do. So you get to learn that it's not all about you and your books, but it's you and the people you work with. And then you, the people you work with, and the common goal, which is the business.
Interesting. One of the other biggest issues coming out of graduate training programs has been that universities have been on the spot being told, you guys are not doing your job, that's why companies have to step in and fill in this gap. How true is this?
Abby, look at the biggest universities abroad, states. Stanford University, industry and university working together. MIT, industry and university working together. There is no way you will separate industry from university. Everyone has a role to play in developing competent people to come into the work environment.
Now we want to shift the conversation a bit and look at, now that you have these job placements in various capacities, how is it settling down, meeting older people who have to report to you? How did you adjust in that environment, really? Where?
I can say it's an interesting thing. Interesting in a way that you get to respect people and you get to earn the same respect from them. So it all depends on how you approach it. If you decide to be arrogant and you won't talk to the people simply because they're reporting to you, that is not right. I think people ought to be treated fairly. That's what I believe in. So it's like the training is 1 year, so it will give you exposure. You learn step by step. You learn from your fellow managers. You learn from the people who are older than you. You learn from the different departments and the different exposures. So for me, it's been a learning process.
Yourself?
It's actually a learning curve. You get to interact with people, as you said, the older people than us. And with time, you get to understand how to interact with them on the daily. And right now it's something that I have gotten used to, and I find them to be just as ordinary human beings as I am.
Maybe Prince?
I would say it's people management skill, because you're coming into an industry that you know nothing about, and at any point in time somebody will know more than you do. So first of all, you have to get rid of the notion that you're a boss, you know everything, all your decisions are right. So you put yourself in a position to learn, work with these people. In as much as you might be their managers, their bosses, they might know some technical things better than you do. So learn how to manage them, manage your relationships with these people, and you will progress from, you'll be very effective.
I like that you've said manage your relationships with these people. I want to get your closing thoughts around. We've seen the number of white-collar jobs declining over time, and we are seeing also a number of young people going for self-employment. We find that on the back of the just concluded Global Entrepreneurship Summit, we saw a lot of young people pitching great ideas. Most of them got to convince the investors. Eventually they got to be funded, and they're now trying to actualize their plans. We have two sets of graduates, that one who wants to be employed, and this other one who now wants to go the entrepreneurship way. For your case, should I say you are lucky or you are bright? You ended up getting this program. But in actual sense, we've seen entrepreneurship becoming a big deal, and no wonder the US president was actually in the country just to grace this historic event that Kenya hosted. From your worldview, in terms of entrepreneurship, how best can young people be equipped when it comes to starting that business, starting that engineering company? What are your thoughts around this? Anyone on that? Where?
Entrepreneurship is a good thing, because out of these different logistics, someone had the idea, someone had the confidence to start it. It started out of someone, they thought about the idea and it was implemented. So that's how we have the different industries and the different companies coming up. And I think it's a good idea for the graduates to think like that. If you wake up in the morning, or if you have that dream that has been chasing you for long, have the confidence to put it out. And if you're not lucky to start out immediately after campus and you started with work is also a good thing. It gives you exposure. It teaches you how to manage the nitty-gritties that you won't learn when you're in school, or that you'll eventually have to learn once you start out. So even if you started out by employment, and then after some time you venture out and start your own company, you still have picked some skills from your former employment. So if you decide to go straight from university to start your business, it is also a good thing.
Interesting.
Well, for me, the white-collar jobs, entrepreneurship, what I see they have in common is, before, when you're in campus, when you have the opportunity to, when you have the time to, get exposed, read widely, visit many people, meet different kinds of people. Your entrepreneurship ideas, whatever job you will get, whatever position you get later on, will actually largely depend on your exposure to the world around you. So don't confine yourself to, in campus, your books, the books you're reading, and your course. Read widely, travel widely, meet different people, open up your mind. That will help you so much when you decide to either go the entrepreneurship way or the job market way.
Yes, sir.
For me, I think that's where the whole point of internship comes in. At least you get to gain an understanding of how to work with people.
Yes. Before
you finally venture out to entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is also important.
Closing thoughts. What should you expect from you guys in the next 5 years at individual level? We start from you as we go this way. In your career.
CEO.
Nice.
5 years from now, standard gauges will have launched. The rail industry will have expanded.
Yes.
So expect in a big management position, general manager, chief operating officer. You never know. The possibilities are endless.
Interesting.
My main goal is basically self-development. Every year I want to be somewhere. Every year I want to be somewhere. So every year I make sure I am a better person. So given 5 years, I'll be basically a much better person.
Many thanks, lady and gentlemen and ladies. In your language they say Kale Nyabo. Well, we've been having an interesting conversation just around how to bridge the skills gap and what young people can actually do when it comes to positioning themselves so as to take up opportunities that are being offered by corporates, as well as trying to create a niche for themselves. My name is Abegina. Coming up is Sophia Wanuna, who will be interviewing Joyce Laboso just to understand what are her plans in the parliamentary world. Well, we'll take a quick break. Coming up with Sophia next.
Honorable members, the question that you are going to division on is whether the mover should be called to reply.